It appears so. Good. I'm just going to give this a moment or two. Hi, Rex. That is very quick. I still need to actually tweet this out, so it'll be just a moment. I also need to actually go in and upload the VODs to YouTube and cut together some, not highlights, what is the word I'm looking for? The word I'm looking for is time lapses. Right, we're going to mute that. Let's see. And it has now been tweeted to a few people. So I do believe we can adjust this position a bit more because I'm not quite happy with that angle. This is going to be a little bit of a tricky one because I've got a lot of I've got all the frames set up over there. I might move that one, that, so I can push this back. Yes, I've got all the frames laid out for this because, as you can see, there's a lot. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. That many frames. Plus another one's worth in there, because those bits are too small for me to trust them. So, tweak that some. I'm a little bit more comfortable with that position, I think. Let's just move that back, and I can do that, and then twist this back around that. That's kind of alright. I think we can work with that. So, starting about 15 minutes late, but oh well, who's counting? Me. Refresh that, and I think we're good. Okay, so I need to actually plug in my phone and remembered to do that this time. I've also got the microphone actually pointed at my face, which probably helps. Do I sound in any way clearer than last time? Let's run this cable for a little bit more tidiness. There. Oh good, that's because the microphone is this side rather than that side. So, there is no way I can do this one without the instructions, so we have the help of a very beat up iPad mini. And, you know, we're just going to get straight into it. With a pair of batteries, if I can find them. Where did I put the batteries? Where did my batteries go? Oh, where could they be? Because this I want to test while I'm going. I definitely have AAA batteries somewhere. You know what? We're going to borrow the Liger Zero's battery. Because I'm pretty sure the Liger Zero takes a AAA. Watch me be wrong and open up to find a AA. Come on, open. Perfect, 2 AAAs. Let's just wind that on a tiny bit. I do apologize for any noise in the background. There is apparently more work going on outside, much to my frustration, and because I'm painting so much, I'm doing this just to the panel lining. Because I'm doing that so much, I'm doing this with my window open to let air actually escape the room. Because I like being able to breathe. Turns out breathing is really good for your health. Right. Chuck those in. Got a very small switch on this one. Also, for anyone just joining us, I am Saber. It's lovely to meet you. What I do here is I build Zoids. These are a little bit like gunpla kits. They are model kits. It used to be in frames. But what I do is I just build them up, do a bit of a panel wash, and clean them up a bit, because some of these came from my childhood. Some of these came from someone else's childhood. I had a Dark Spiner as a kid. I still have it. But Unfortunately, mine has a much louder motor than this. This one sounds very clean and very smooth. The one that I have from my childhood is a little bit munged in its engine, so it sounds awful. It doesn't hold itself together anywhere near as nicely, and some of the pieces have broken over the course of multiple moves. We are going to just straight up put that the other way up, see if it will stay in there that way up. But yeah, I'm not here in the name of perfection. I'm just here in the name of having a grand old time. That is going on very thick. Right, I need to shake absolute billio out of that. I need to find my cloth. Cloth, he says, fetching a serviette. Oh, that has really not come up nice. I have a solution to this. I have thinners. This is another reason we keep the window open. The Dark Spiner is based on the Spinosaurus, which is, in fact, why we're building him this week. Because just before my last one, it came out that the Spinosaurus might have been a lot more aquatic than we previously thought. Please stay in there, little cloth grommet thingy. Do it for me. There we go, that's what I want to see. Nice thin panel wash. So we can just do that. And so we can do that. And so we can do that and just really make that pop really quickly. And we will clean off the top of this bottle a bit, so it hopefully won't grip our little ring off of the lid. But yes, the Spinosaurus, as it turns out, might have been more akin to a crocodile in terms of how aquatic it was, as opposed to what we originally thought, which was just a land-based animal with a sail, and then later a potentially semi-aquatic theropod. So it still would have been semi-aquatic, but more so than we had thought. I do apologize if you hear my phone buzz in the background. That's just because my phone's buzzing in the background. It'll do that sometimes. I'm just going to paint up those details and then sop up that monstrous amount of excess. As always, we're just here to have a bit of fun with this. I swear some of the machine sounds outside sound like Transformers. Hello, dog. There is a dog outside. You can probably hear him. He's a little dog and very talkative, and I don't know his name. Oh, good. I'm pleasantly surprised by that. Let's just take a moment to adjust this a little bit more so I can get better light on this. Whoop. There we go, that'll do. So there's our first bit, a little bit messy, but if we want the big pieces come off this once fully assembled quite nicely, and I can redo this later if I really, really am bugged by that. But I doubt I will be bugged. Oh, wait, we're not done yet, because we've got this purple piece. Yeah, there is no way I could build this without instructions. The Hasbro website has the instructions for a large number of kits. And there are a few more kits that you can find the instructions for either just by Googling or on giantzrk.com. They have the manuals for a couple more, but mostly really old ones. That's coming up much nicer. Ooh, I totally missed a bit of this fella. I'm gonna get in there, in there, in there, and then all over that. I am very much looking forward to getting that magnifier as well. I think this will be a much, much easier task with the magnifier. Because my eyes are good, but this is small. Not as small as the bits in that little box lid over there, though. Those are going to be very, very easy to lose. which is why they're in that little box. A magnifier is a godsend to these crafting projects. Oh, you have no idea. Or maybe you do. Maybe you've used a magnifier on this sort of thing before. You wish you'd had a magnifier while painting pewter miniatures. Oh god, miniature painting without a magnifier would be the worst thing. Alright, we're gonna try that piece again. And these two little bits back here. Because this is so heavily thinned, it seems like I can basically use this as a kind of thinners. And it seems like I was right. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So onto the grey. Just smear that all over it. Has this settled out? The sounds of company. Just smear that all over it. And let physics do the physics thing. Then just get in there and clean that out. Yes. Oh, that's why it's a little bit of a weird angle. It's because I've got the camera on the opposite side to normal. So let's tweak the angle a bit like that. I can still see the chat. Right, I think that's good. Also, if you're wondering about the Band-Aid, very deep paper cut. Abnormally deep paper cut. So, we need these pieces, 2 rubber caps, and these pieces. And already we find some that were really not trimmed well by this particular Dark Spiner's original owner. Pieces that are fairly critical. I hope I'm working in frame. Yes, I got myself this paper cut last night, and it was still Yeah, in the morning. Which is a tad ridiculous, if you ask me. Hey, iPad, don't do that. Let's change some settings on the iPad so it stays awake. Display and brightness. Auto lock, never. Back to my particular reader of choice. And that goes actually in there. Okay. So I'm going to try to remember to work in frame on this. I might even nudge all of this across. Actually, yes, I'm going to do that. Put my tools and other bits over this side. That might work a little bit better, maybe, for framing. Yeah, I'm a bit happier with that framing. And now my hands are visible. And so is the work. Especially the work. The work is what we're here for. The work and hopefully the entertainment. So we chuck that in, and we put that aside while we clean up all these other bits. Where do you go? You go into this bit that I didn't finish painting. That I've now finished painting. Thank you. I will make note of that then and see if I can remember to keep this angle. Let's put that in up that way. Put that cap on. And then trim these awfully trimmed pieces. I mean, that's a huge plastic nubbin. It's not even about aesthetics for this piece, it's about mechanics. This Zoid has a lot of much more intricate mechanics that are built by, well, you. It even has plastic bearings that are made of this really glossy plastic, and if they're not trimmed smooth, then you're wearing on things more than they need to be worn on. And that's probably part of why mine has been so noisy after so long as well. Because, admittedly, I wasn't very good about that myself growing up. Okay, we've got the long side coming out there. That goes into that side. That goes into there. And that, let's flip that around. That pops onto that. Okay, yeah, so that goes over the axle. And that sits up like that. Okay. And that goes over there. Pin it up. Now let's just see what this makes it do. It makes that bit jiggle. Cool. Step 2. A much easier step. We take this piece and we put it on. And we take this piece and we cut off the nubbins and we put it on. Let's see. There's not a lot to paint on this piece, but we'll give it a quick burl anyway. Mainly just around there, the other side, and down the barrel. And we plug that on there, and that holds everything nicely together. And now he has just a little gun. Good thing we're not monetized. So this is one of those pieces that we can just glob it in. Because we've got a lot of fine little detail in there. And we want that to just nice and runny go through all of it. Bang goes the door in the background. Let's get all of those little nooks, all of those little crannies. And that kind of shows up. It shows up better than it did before we did it. This is absolutely not instructional, and if you want yours to look tidier, then you'd obviously do this with a little bit more finesse. Then we denub it. Something I learned is that you don't just want to hack off the entire nub in one go. You want to kind of shave the nub down. I'm still learning that myself, but I've tried to do that on this side, and you can see that it's almost invisible. Whereas on this side, our nubectomy is a lot more obvious. I'm just going to try this without this light for a sec. Okay, that looks better on camera, but I do need this light. So, sorry it's a bit golden. The gold sheen will go away when I have that magnifier, because it has a light on the front and it's powered by button cells, so it'll be very, very light. B1, that's going to be this. No lines to wash this time. Just nubbins to clean up. Okay, this was even marked in the manual as, for proper assembly and function, be sure that the parts marked with an exclamation point are completely detached from the parts frames. That was not done on this particular Dark Spiner, sadly. There we go. On to step 3. A, B, C, D. So now we're getting out the purple pieces. These don't need to be given much of a nubectomy. But they do need a good painting. So we'll clean them up a little bit. Off with his nubs. That sounds a very interesting phrase, actually. This is indeed one of the more advanced level Zoids. This is one that would have cost like 40 or 50 bucks back in the day, at least in Australian dollars. So our very unusual moon currency. But this would have taken a little while if you were new to Zoids. This would not have been a very easy first build. This, however, was definitely not my first build. As the more advanced Zoids from the motorized line go, this is still one of the, I guess, slightly smaller, really advanced ones. The Berserk Fury, I think, is slightly bigger, and in some ways a bit more advanced and more complex. With this one, you also get to build some of the mechanics yourself, as we saw before. But this is definitely not one to do without instructions. That goes onto there, we smudge absolute hell out of that. And then we go back and touch up the bit that we smudged earlier. After I correct it, because I missed a bit of the instruction there. This mechanical bit has to go on that little track. So let's chuck that one off and put the more mechanically necessary piece on first. Then we put this on. Now that side is very smudged. Let's just smear that over it, because it's not really a very deep track for the panel wash to just get into. When we do that, now we can see this little piece move. That's what all of that has culminated in, that one little wiggle. So, why was there a sound? I have everything muted. Yeah, it is saying a bit, but that I couldn't do this without instructions, but there are some bits that even just after disassembly I struggle with arranging properly. Let's see, we've got these two, that. Whack, do we have that? We need these two little pieces. Do I have that cockpit piece? I don't know if I do. I think we're missing. Oh, no, we're not missing a piece. It's just gotten ahead of us. we're going to be very, very careful when we clean this up. Because the canopy came off of a frame. Which is very unusual for the more modern Zoids. These were some of the pieces that were marked with an exclamation point. You might notice that they're not trimmed properly, which seems like an instructional deficit on part of the original builder. Or perhaps they forgot to give a rat's about making it fit together. Let's make sure I'm not trimming off a piece that needs to stay on. That's the right way up. Nope, that definitely needs to be trimmed up. Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first broken piece. But I have a solution to that. This piece is not going to impact the overall build, even though it is broken and should match up exactly with this piece. As I said, I have another one. Everyone I've asked about this has not noticed a difference in color, but I notice a difference in color. You won't see it under this lighting at all, but I know it's there. Patient is cleared for surgery. Patient has been successfully deprived of his face. And we're just going to, for storage reasons, chuck that on there. Replace his canopy and put his face back on. In a later build, we're going to take this fella and we're going to customize the absolute hell out of him. But that's not this time. That's another time. that's a little look into what we're going to have ahead of us in this build. This will be a bit of a long build though, I think. The deciding factor will be how hungry I get. But probably capping out at about 3 hours. Once again, nothing for us to really line on those teal bits. That nubbin needs to come off. There we go. There we go. Now we de-schmoo the top of our bottle again. Get all those little nooks and crannies just filled in again. Everyone's going to be familiar with nooks and crannies again, thanks to Animal Crossing. They are terribly, terribly fun words anyway. You know what? Let's put that on first. The original probably broke because it wasn't trimmed properly. Just at a guess. Let's put that one in first and then see how the panel wash goes on that. Ooh, but first, let's put that in and use it as a little paint stand. Get those little details that we'll never actually see. Subtle, but beautiful. Like I said, this is not instructional. My painting and panel washing will never be perfect because I just have fun with it, and I like to make it look better, but I guess a little bit rustic. Most of what I do and make and build looks a little bit rustic in some way. It's just my thing, I guess. Click. Now we can see what that mechanical function actually does. To an extent, it moves his head. That's not what it really focuses on, he says as he smashes into the camera. Where are the bottom jaw pieces? G. 1 and 2. These are actually trimmed nicely. And his bottom teeth. Then we also need 2 more caps. Pretty nicely trimmed, but we're gonna just shave it a little and tidy it up. Give it a shave and a haircut. 2 bits. Now I miss Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I should watch that later. You know what? If you haven't seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit before, or you haven't seen it in at least a week, you should also watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Because that is a damn good movie. And if you've never seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, no judgment, but watch one of the greatest animation and live-action crossovers, if not the single greatest animation live-action crossover movie in history. Vivi, if you're watching, maybe we should watch that later. If not today, maybe sometime over the next week. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is just plain amazing. Right, we need to put these into here before we can actually paint them. No real nubs to speak of on that. That's really good. Excuse me. This is the bit we're really controlling with the mechanical setup that we did in step 1. Whoop. Now observe. And we can push his head down. And he'll go back to chomping. Excuse me. Now we've got these two bits and these two bits. Now we're starting to get into more of the detailable bits. Yes, a lot of these head-mouth movements, this is one of the ones I like a little bit more because you can move part of the head independently. Another good thing about Who Framed Roger Rabbit as well is Bob Hoskins, who, despite it being production hell for everyone involved, was even good in the Mario Brothers movie. No, Mario was not a good movie, but it was fun. It was stupid. It was kind of fun. Though, at least John Leguizamo made a career after it. It didn't do any good for his career for a long time, the poor guy. But he's a good actor. It must be said, John Leguizamo has aged quite well too. Let's see, there's one or two lines we can do on this. After we remove that nub. Now this does go that way up, so let's not completely remove it. Let's just clean it up. So let's dab that back on. Do that. Then we do that. Protect his neck. Let's see if we can glob some on around. Whoop! I was going to say around his face, but first we're going to clean that glob off of my cutting mat. Yes, I love how this turns out on the teal, on the turquoise colour. Then we try to get that in with some apparently considerable resistance. There we go. That is very snug in there. Maybe that's why the other piece broke originally. But either way, you have a very complex cockpit to enter. Get in, you pull down the console, then that closes, and then he goes rawr. Let's just line that tiny bit there, that tiny bit there. Clean off the top of our bottle that is perpetually gross. And that's step 6 done. Okay, now we're building a leg. So we take a claw, we take a foot plate, we take a talon, yeah, that is the correct leg. We take this. We've got to get a whole lot of pieces. I need to check something as well. Let's see, is that interchangeable? It looks like these two pieces are indeed interchangeable. But we'll see. We're just going to take these two. Is that going to play nice? Yes, it will. Cool. Put those back up there. Excuse me. So we've got those. We take a bearing. And then we need 1, 2. Just 2 caps. Cool. I think that piece is actually a separate piece. It is. I thought it might have been. But, now that we've cleaned it slightly, we can put that back on. And then we can clean all of these bits up. That's the claw done. That's the footplate done, and the right way around. That's his little nubbin claw. That's his honkin' great leg. Almost done. Excuse me. That bit's all good. Now this really should have been trimmed. It's a bearing. Don't leave a bearing untrimmed, please. You'll wear things out much quicker than they should be worn out. There we go. I'm even gonna give that just a tiny little go with a sanding stick. That's in. Yeah, we haven't trimmed his foot yet. More minor adjustments throughout. We're bringing that further back. And this back over a tiny bit. We're all adults here, but keeping it family friendly. Just in case you want to watch this with your kids. Now we get to paint. That should run down the sides, both sides. Of course, if you are watching with your kids, make sure they know to not use all these sharp tools unsupervised unless they really know what they're doing. Kids, if you're watching with your parents, then even if you think you're pretty damn sure you know what you're doing with things like a hobby knife, your parents have probably been bitten by them before. So if they tell you to be careful, listen. Otherwise you'll learn the same lesson that they were trying to teach you, but it won't be as fun as the way they were trying to teach you. Trust me, that's a lesson you only need to learn once. Well, I've gotten way ahead of myself there. And smeared that all over everything. Yay. That said, if you are watching or even thinking of doing this kind of thing with your kids, be it Zoids models, Gundam models, anything like that, I highly recommend it to both parents and children. Because the things your kid can learn from doing this, if you do it with them, don't just make them watch. Let the kid do it. Or at least let the kid do one or two. Because if the kid wanted to watch, I've got a backlog now. So there's plenty of chances to watch. They probably want to do at this point. Which, excuse me, car horn, which is why we don't look for perfection, we look for fun. We have fun. Right, our bearing goes into there. There we are. Yep, that all looks right. So now we can assemble this lower leg portion. And then we can paint the foot. Then we can put our caps on. If you're looking at doing this with someone who's very new to model making and model building, and you don't want them to break one of your really nice ones or mess up one of your really nice ones that's hard to collect, and hard to find. Get a Gundam. Look, Gundams are not expensive. And they will introduce a kid to the principles, help them get really good, and who doesn't like big stompy robots? Everyone likes big stompy robots, kids and adults. That's why I'm still building these. What? 20 years later. And why people are still building these 40 years after they came out. So it turns 40 in like 2 years. Yes, a crossover between Gundam and Zoids would be pretty cool. It's probably somewhere on YouTube. I haven't seen it, but it probably exists. Big leggy boy. One of those. A bearing. 2 caps. And a balance plate. Alright, we're going to do the balance plate first. And just plonk him on there. And watch him flop. Now we'll trim up these bits. Especially the bearing. Smooth out the bearing. And pop the bearing into there. I realize my hand positioning might not always be the best, but I am only looking at my phone occasionally to check that and also to follow the chat. So my apologies for not being always in frame. Oh, I've grabbed the wrong leg piece. We want this leg. Which was much, much better trimmed up. Also, if you've got someone who's new to this and doesn't feel comfortable using a hobby knife, nail clippers will do an adequate job. Nail clippers and a pair of these. Just cheap Chinesium nippers. Then if they really enjoy this, you get them some real nippers and a model kit for a birthday or something. For those starting this on a budget, young or old, you don't need the brand name stuff. You never need the brand name stuff. It makes life easier, but you don't need the fancy brand of hobby knife. You don't need the fancy brand of sanding sticks. These came from a cheap shop. I spent $3 and I got like 20. You don't need the brand name cutting mat. You don't need the brand name airbrush for that matter. Because what I'm looking at doing, instead of spending $200 odd, spending $80 to get an airbrush and a little bench compressor, just to get started, just to learn my way around it and make that brush work a little bit better for me. There are videos out there for how to really, really improve a brush. You can get the cheap knockoff stuff and make it really work for you. The stand I'm using has had a few little problems, but at 1/10 the cost, that little bit of extra work it takes to make it work really nicely is absolutely worth it. So anyone who says, oh, you need the name brand stuff, they're wrong. They are completely wrong. Now, good paint will probably go a long way for you. And use whatever brand you like to use. But that's probably the only case where you really, really want the good brand rather than just making it work for you. Or when safety is concerned. When safety is concerned, absolutely go for the name brand. Excuse me. Do not compromise safety if you can avoid it. Okay. Let's see, we've got that bit. No, we've got this bit. Okay, we've got this bit. Was I right the first time? I was right the first time. We've got that bit. We've got that bit. We've got that bit. We've got that bit. It's one of those bits. We'll look at that. And then we get to go through the little box. So, it's going to be this one. We'll put that aside. Because that way I don't have to reach over so much. Nothing to really panel wash on there. Only a little bit to clean up. I see a lot of people doing model work cutting towards themselves. I struggle with that because I was brought up to always cut away from myself. And that's a tough habit to break. Whoa, there's a lot of shmoo on there. Let's clean. Then let's find the right bits for these. Okay, that looks like a bigger one. That's the right one for that. And these are a slightly funky shape. That's the right one for that. That's the right one for that. Now some of these in the manual have 2 exclamation points on them. 2 exclamation points. That's how critical they were considered. And yet, here we are, with me having to hold them with tweezers. And trim them. These are my electronics tweezers, so they are very, very sharp. Be careful with sharp tweezers. They can bite a lot harder than you think. Even if it's just a paper cut, take advice from people with band-aids on their hands. They've learned the lessons. They've learned so you don't have to. So do not let their frustration with themselves be in vain. You've probably had that sort of experience yourself, Rix, with the learning from experience with things like tweezers. Just at a wild guess. Let's see, so that one goes on there? No, it goes up there. Does it? There's where it goes. Okay, we're gonna put that piece on before we paint then. We're learning for the next leg. We're doing a lot of painting on built pieces next leg. How are we going for time? It's been... Wow, it's been 90 minutes. We've been building for 90 minutes. We're getting there. We're getting there. We might get this done within 3 hours. There we go. Build Fighters? What actually is Build Fighters, Shadow Tiger Gaming? I'm not familiar with it, but I imagine it would probably be like a build-off kind of thing? He says, absolutely gouging a piece of armor. Whoops. There we go. Come on. That'll do the trick. Now we can hit that with the detail. There we go. Now we're gonna skip just a few. Wait, no, we can't. So we're going to build his other leg. Which means we need this bit, these bits, these bits, these bits, this bit, these, and this. Can put that up there. We'll start with the bearing. And we do that. Then we do that. This foot, when I got it, wouldn't even close properly because of how big the sprue chunks were. And this one was cut down a lot less nicely than the first leg we built. I think I shaved off a bit of actual detail there. I did. Oh well. We'll live. Those are pretty nicely done. And let's see. I'm gonna finish trimming this set of pieces up, and then I'm going to quickly retweet out that I am streaming because it has been almost 2 hours now. So I'll be back in just one moment. Right, we have tweeted that out. Building the leg may resume. And resume it shall. There's a bit of glob on there. Whoop. No, we didn't quite save that. High techs. Let's see. I am slowly roping more people into joining these. I believe you are also going to be streaming after I'm done with this, aren't you, Tex? Which I will absolutely join when I have food. Well, if Tex streams, then you should go watch that as well, because they're pretty fun to watch. Very different sort of thing to this, because Tex actually, games. Boop. Hi, Ace. Tex actually plays games instead of building model kits, but I say that's a good reason to check him out. Because it's not the same thing that you're getting here. Like I said, they're pretty fun. Do it. Make it happen. Whoop. That has gone well because we rushed. And I've also put it on upside down. Go me. Remember to read instructions. Also, Ace, you should totally get back into streaming. The hardest part I'm learning is networking with other streamers and with people in general, but that seems to be basically how you get an audience. Just talk to people, know people, and then watch each other, support each other. Hi, Ray. Ooh, a Minecraft stream. That is very relevant to my interests. We will see it walk when he's got legs. Because right now, can't do much, but he does go rar. Okay, Ace, you are someone worth knowing. You just gotta believe that yourself now. Yes, he rar. He do a big rar. Like, you kindly stay in there. I put on the other half of your foot. That'll be all I ask of you, yeah. We so-and-so. Thank you for going into place. Now we can detail the rest of his leg. He got in the accident of being completely disassembled because he was assembled by someone who wasn't me in the present. So he's currently legless, but still quite probably a good archer. Ha! Ace was going to make a similar joke. I did it first. If yours is better though, Ace, please make it. Please. Because mine was terrible. Would Mlems help? Mlems will... I don't recommend licking the paint that I'm putting on, I'll say that much. That would probably be bad for your health. Okay, now I want to hear yours, Ace. Legless was my favourite Lord of the Rings character. Yeah, that was about as bad as mine. I approve. I'm all about the bad jokes. Did I put that on the right way around? I did. No, you are not going to eat the paint, because I need to use the paint. We've already trimmed that one up. We need another 2 caps. This bit. And then some of these tiny, tiny bits. And a bearing. We'll know in a little bit if I've gotten the right pieces for these. Legless sounds like a TV series, like it could be a TV series on HBO. It probably could. As long as it ends a bit, as long as it doesn't end the same way as The Sopranos. Okay, what is going on that's making this buzz? Let's have a look. People talking to me on Discord when... Sorry guys, on Discord I can't actually reply at the moment. Oops. Let's get that in there and let's get the bearing back in. There we go. Now we're going to trim that up properly. There we are. Ooh, I didn't paint this before. Let's paint this. Here's a thought as well. Should I start calling these Let's Build? You missed me actually going back to the previous leg there, Rix. Yes, I have a Discord, Dogface66. Which I won't say my Discord name on the stream, but I will duck over and drop that in the chat. There we are. Let's build Zoids and friendships. I like that. I actually like that. Now we just paint this fella. I might use Let's Build Zoids and Friendships for like a channel name, because I still need to set up a BitChute. And basically every other video platform that I can. BitChute recently got 2.3 million unique hits in a day. So BitChute looks like it might actually be around to stay. It's also further along in its development than YouTube was at this stage of its development. So I think we live in a world where BitChute is an alternative to YouTube now. It just needs to be used by more people. And as more people use it for non-political stuff, it will shake its early image of being for a particular political leaning. It's going to be tricky for it to shake that, I think. But as more people adopt it, it will get better. Better playlists. It does need better playlists. Oh, you backed VidMe, Ace. This BitChute has already gone further than VidMe, thankfully. Because VidMe, well, I'm sorry, there's some very distracting sounds in the background at the moment that are just like, whoa, what? Yep. Ooh, 4 total playlists, that's not much. As BitChute improves things, I might actually consider giving them some money. Also, once I have a more reliable income. Oh, wow. But at least you've got your YouTube backlog elsewhere as well. I have my everywhere name of SabreMc claimed on BitChute. That's something. But I might use a different channel name for this stuff. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll keep the same name everywhere. Sorry I keep obscuring what I'm doing with my hands as well. I'm still kind of learning my way around things. I might have to flip the camera back around for the next one, because having the camera where it is makes it a bit tricky to work around. And I want you to be able to, see a little bit of what I'm doing. I also forgot to set up the alternate angle camera, but I think there would have been too many pieces up top anyway. There were a lot of pieces to this, and a lot of them were really, really small. I have once again gouged that bit, but oh well. Put these tiny, tiny bits in with tweezers. Yeah, I'm pretty confident those are the right pieces. Now, as I learned from the previous leg, we basically need to put these on before we paint them, because otherwise I will smudge them like nobody's business. And while I'm not here for perfection, the smudging doesn't look very nice to me. Not on the turquoise. We have legs. We have a camera bump. I'm gonna tweak the angle again just a little bit. See if we can get something a bit more like that. My workmanship on these Zoids is very casual, we'll say, because that's all I'm trying to do. It's just chill. I do appreciate the compliment, Rix. I really, really like how the black pops on the turquoise. Which is a much lighter colour than teal, but the two are often confused. Ooh, model cars. Even if you've only got room to display like 2 at a time, I quite recommend it. Because honestly, I'm probably going to rotate which Zoids I display at any one time. Because most of us live in shoeboxes. Let's be real. Rubber caps, are you gonna stay? No, you're not. So let's grab a different one. That's a better fit, much more positive. We might be going back to the donor Zoid for rubber caps if they're not going to sit properly. Okay, and now we get to arm him. Now, for the other arm, I've actually had to repair this piece. You see that sheen there? This came to me broken off, so I've had to glue that back on and then shave it down so it doesn't break off again. It might make his claw a little bit loose. In fact, it's this arm that we're working on right now. We need this piece, this claw, this claw, and this claw. We'll trim these and then we'll assemble these before painting. This is a good build, thank you. This is a very, very mechanically involved build at some points as well. It's really a fun one. And topical. Because, as I was saying towards the start of the stream, this fella is based on the Spinosaurus, which we've recently discovered is a lot less aquatic, is a lot more aquatic, than originally thought. Based on its tail, there is speculation that it may have moved, that it may have basically done a lot of aquatic hunting and been able to move about on par actually with modern crocodiles, which is pretty dang impressive for something as massive as this. This was bigger than a T-Rex. Will I say what? I see an emoticon. I'm not sure what sound that's meant to represent. That's the right one. Yes. The Spinosaurus is a very, very cool dinosaur. I tend to follow sauropods a little bit closer than I do theropods, but theropods are pretty cool. Sauropods being things like your Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus, whereas theropods are things like your Spinosaurus and your T-Rex. Oh god, I sound like Blathers. PogChamp, I am not familiar. I am ignorant to this PogChamp thing. Oh god. Apparently I would make a great Blathers. I will take that as the compliment I know it is, because he and I can nerd out for fucking, whoops, swearing, my apologies, for bloody hours. I need to watch my swearing. Just in life, I need to watch my swearing. What's your profanity? And what even is this thing? Is this a meme? Is this emoticon that you had me say a meme? Butterfly. Is this a meme? Right, now I actually need this out so I can paint. Yes. There we go. Every time I swear I have to buy a villager amiibo card, oh god, not with the current exchange rates. That will be horrendous. Right. Arms. Building that arm, so yep, that's the bit. Please do send me that, because that is very confusing, I must admit. We might go beyond the 3 hours, but we are getting very close to being done with this fella. Alright, this is the one we want. It's been very interesting, and like I said, we've still got a fair few bits to go. Because we've got his other arm, and then we've got his tail, and all his armor to go. This is why I've got the tweezers here, because these tiny, tiny purple vent bits love to escape, as this one just tried to. And continues to try to. Ooh, that's a nice gouge. Something you will never see me do on here is play Getting Over It. Because I have watched bits of that game, and I know what I'm like when I play games like that. If you ever want to hear me swear, watch me play a game like that. I will swear so much that even most of Australia goes like, "Oi, settle down there, mate." That game is terrible if you have... I only recommend Getting Over It if you have low blood pressure and you really, really need to bring it up. Ooh, competitive Tetris. See, I don't know if I'd be all that bad at competitive Tetris. I did a lot of competing in high school against my classmates in Tetris, because I had the better calculator for one, so I had a better version of Tetris by far. I had the TI-84 Plus, everyone else had some Casio graphing calculator, but I had the top score in the school for quite a long time. And then when someone beat me, I sat down for a good... I think I spent a week of lunch breaks besting their score. And then I showed it to them with this stuff-eating grin. I also, in that same school, Bombliss, I have not played this. I take it it's a Tetris-style game? Hatris. I haven't played Hatris, but I've played a lot of Fridgetris. Or Tetris, but when you make a line, it sends it to the other person's side. So it's kind of like Tetris Attack or the Pokemon puzzle games. I am Dr. Mario, and I prescribe high fives. Laughter's the best medicine, so bah! You fell down. Pac-Man has a Tetris. I did not know this. Brightly coloured pills. They'll cure all your ills. Just as long as you've got fever or the chills. Consult your doctor before taking any medicine prescribed by Dr. Mario. Alternatively, ask your doctor about megavitamins. I also apologize for exposing you to my singing. Yes, that is the Dr. Mario song from Brental Floss. Well spotted. Now we assemble the claws. Right. Grab our last bit of armor. We grab our last tiny purple escaping piece. And we trim this. Excuse me. If I ever feel like a really, really quick build, I'm going to get the Dark Horn out. Because very little detail work is going to show up on the Dark Horn. It's mostly black. I'd have to make a silver enamel wash for a lot of detail to show up on him. Which I might do one day. And this Zoid does appear in the anime. I believe this Zoid appears in Fusors, which... I mean, if you want to see this Zoid in the anime, look it up on YouTube, because Fusors is not great, and is a terrible, terrible intro to Zoids as a series. It's tropey without being anywhere near as fun as the excessively tropey Chaotic Century and New Century Zero, which are both kind of tours of anime tropes, but they're fun. There's the important difference. Those ones are fun. If any of you remember the Jetix era of anime where you had things like Biederman, Fusors fits very neatly into that style, and I don't think it was a good direction for the anime to go. Okay, so he's still legless, he's still armless. Megas XLR. I don't remember this. I don't think I ever heard of it, unfortunately. Oh, that was many. Right. Let's detail this purple piece. Because this will show off a very cool motorized feature of the Zoid when we put it on. Please do introduce me to that show later, because it sounds probably pretty cool. I also have on DVD the complete English release of Robotech. Picked up at a flea market for basically nothing. I think it was like $5. Might have even been $2. And a friend of mine, who shall remain nameless, is frustrated, and I share their frustration about the lack of a release of the rest of Macross. But I shall say no more on that subject. Except to say that I share their frustration, and I'm sure a lot of you do, if you're familiar with Macross and the particular background of that series. Boom. That's painted. Let's see. Oh, that one goes at the back, by the look of it. Yeah, that one goes at the back. This will be the one that goes at the front. What is a Spinosaurus without spines, after all? That looks like the right order. What is a Spinosaurus? A miserable pile of secrets and bones? Yes. We had the same thought at the same time. What is a Spinosaurus but a miserable pile of secrets? And mysteries. It's a lot of mysteries. When I do the paint streams, I'm going to come back and I'm going to fix up some of these plastic scars you see. I just realized I did all of that cutting off camera. I am so sorry. Let's do this. There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. Which probably helps. I am sorry, I am a derp sometimes. Apparently brain farts like that are a thing that you can actually get medication for. I might actually talk to a doctor about, like, hey, so I'll be talking and then I'll just forget a word. Is that a thing that I should be worried about? And then maybe I'll be given a thing that helps my brain not do that. Which would be pretty cool, because I don't like just being mid-sentence and then going, what was the word I was looking for? What is that word? I too would like to be able to keep a train of thought for more than 5 minutes, Tex. So you can keep a meme going for months, but a thought going for minutes. Yeah, sounds like me. This is going to be entirely guesswork as to which of these little orange bits goes into which of these holes. Frankly, I don't think these were in the right holes to begin with. Because some of them were barely sitting in. Oh, we almost lost one. There's that one. There's that one. That'll do for covering that up. That one's in. These all look the same now. They might not be the same, but they might be.
I mean, this stuff looked kind of old. I wouldn't be surprised if he had stuff from 2015.
There's that. Have to change the tracks on the train of thought before it drives into the canyon. That's where the banditos live. I don't know that word. The fugu, fugu. I don't know. Let's paint this up. You are gonna love what happens when I put this onto this. is a really cool feature of this Zoid. Just glob it in everywhere. We don't have to be precise, don't even really have to be all that careful with these bits. Also, I am getting a bit hungry, so yes, I am slightly hurrying things along, just a little bit. It's been a very big stream. It's been 3 hours now. Since I actually started, and 2 hours 45 minutes since I actually started building. Nope, that is the wrong way around. That is the right way around. Why is that not trimmed? I'm sure I got that. I must have missed it. There we go. Now you might be noticing something. That these aren't sitting straight. Think on that for a moment. Why might they not be sitting straight? Let's put that on the right way around. Okay, that's just not going to stand up right now. Somewhere I probably even have the stickers for this fella. This is the first Zoid since the 80s to carry the Xenobas logo, or insignia, Should go with insignia because it's for an imperial thinger. Amarok, why doesn't Can ever talk about your streams? It's probably because if he's at all sensible, he's asleep when I'm doing these because he's in England and it's late there. It is very late, or rather it's very early. It's got to be like... Okay, it's 1500, so it'll be about 15:30. It'll be about 5:30 in the morning for him. So, in the UK, it is obnoxiously early in the day. Oh, right, daylight savings is a thing. I keep forgetting daylight savings is a thing in the UK. Right. We get to show off a new action feature. Not only does he roar, he does that. And that locks up in that position. So it can do that. Now he looks a bit like a Spinosaurus. Now we move on to the tail. We're going to skip the tail for just a moment though, because I want to put his legs on. I want him to stand up all this time and we haven't done that. And I won't have the legs be the last thing we put on, but I won't show you him walking until we put the tail on. I think that will be a fair compromise. Let's get both of these brackets trimmed. And then jump and gouge a piece. Whoops. There we go. Let's get that out of the way and let's get this painted. We want this one first. And we bring him in here and we put that on. We take his arm and we put that on. We're going to grab a donor cap because some of these are not going to grip. But that one will. And we can do the same with the other side. We take that, chuck it on there.
Make sure you ask how they're going and like if they're saying something you say.
Excuse me. Now he can stand. And that should make the last of the build process a little bit easier. We stand Dark Spiner. Now, I know he'll walk, but I'm not going to show you him walking until we've got his tail on. And this I'm going to paint as we assemble each piece. As we assemble each chunk, basically, of his tail. This tail, of course, is accurate to what we knew in 2000. So this is when we still thought it was an almost entirely land-based dinosaur.
We'll just tighten it up and throwing it out here.
Which, in its own way, is pretty cool. This is now a relic of knowledge we didn't have before. A tail that fires laser beams and also has a giant paddle on it. Excuse me. That goes that way up. Wait, no, it goes that way up, okay. The spines don't stop at the at the sail, the spines go all the way down.
Can't make out PC mouse in the giant, but that's it.
Yay, my show is being watched. Let's see, we put that in there, and we put that in there.
Holy wow, is that?
I need to have a look at that properly, one moment. Holy wow, that's 9 viewers. What even happened? Thank you all so much. I am actually amazed. Like, wow. Hi everyone. Yeah, my phone doesn't show the viewer count properly, but I've got this on my desktop so I can keep track of things, make sure it's still going. And yeah, hi everyone. I am genuinely amazed. You're all awesome. And in that case, I'll give this a little bit of a rundown on what I actually do. I'm Saber. I'm some guy just reliving a bit of his childhood and sharing it with you. We're not going for perfection with all this. We just kind of chill out and talk about whatever comes to our minds, really. Excuse me. Let's see, that goes the same way up. And part of what I do with these builds is I restore them from either my own lack of knowledge or skill as a kid building these, or from other people being in the same position where they didn't really know what they were doing. And I try to make these look a bit better. Just with a very casual sort of panel wash. And yeah. We all just hang out, chat, and have fun, really. I also encourage you to totally join in the chat, because these are cool people. There we go. That is seriously the most people I've ever had in one of these. I am still a little bit blown away by it. Wow. I get why people stick with this kind of thing now. I never expected to get more than just the people that I link directly to this. So, for that, I'm going to pop open the brandy a little bit later today, I think. Just a small bit of it. But I think a milestone of 9, I think that's a fair excuse to crack it open. Hi, Vivi. Oh, right, it's Mother's Day. I should make a phone call after this. Aw. Cake is good. What kind of cake? Over here, people are meeting their mothers in Bunnings. Because we can't meet in the park, we can't visit people, but we can go to the big box warehouse. That's what I missed. There we go. I mean, walking into a Bunnings is a bit like walking into the warehouse in Indiana Jones, yeah. Just boxes and boxes and aisles of stuff. But they at least host a sausage sizzle when it's normal circumstances. And when it is normal circumstances again, I will continue to do these streams, but possibly also have a sausage sizzle afterwards. Let's get all these little purple pieces trimmed, because they are all very fiddly and all of them had very, very big bits of sprue hanging off them. There we go. Once again, we are going to paint these once they go on. Aw, if you need to sleep, Vivi, then you sleep. Because you were up stupidly late last night. Like, unreasonably late. Yes. Insomnia is a hell of a thing that I don't recommend to anyone. Minecraft is an appropriate substitute for sleep. Yeah. Uninterrupted sleep is lovely when it can be had. Not always easy to have. Insomnia, Minecraft, nightmares. Of these, I'd rather have the Minecraft. And I will totally watch that stream once I have KFC to accompany me. Cow on you, I had you on before. There we go. Waking up is an issue. Wow, 36 hours away. I ended up staring at a bed for 10 minutes because I didn't remember how to... Oh god, that is very me after normal sleep. So, if I'm up for even like 28 hours, it's like, look at a bed. What is the bed? What is a bed? How do bed? Chicken sounds really good, especially because I've been doing this for so damn long. But we are almost done. We have the tail, some leg armor, and some weapons. And then... bed is the thing I sit on while I look at memes. Yep. Is that a Doritos? I can't go without sleep anymore. Sleep at a funky hour is still better than no sleep at all. Yes. Absolutely. I'd rather have bad sleep than no sleep, even though after a bad sleep sometimes I feel like I'd rather have no sleep than a bad sleep. Doritos are triangles. Illuminati confirmed. The Chip Illuminati. You are entirely welcome to your Cool Ranch Doritos. I will have my generic $10 per kilo cheesy chip that is totally not a Cheese Supreme Dorito, even though it tastes exactly like it. Vivi and I have had this discussion. Hi, Jet. You finally popped in. We've hit double digits. I am definitely cracking out the brandy later. Let's take this, put his tail on his butt. He's almost done. Oh, right, that makes sense then, chat. So you've been watching a while but couldn't make it into the chat until you set up an account and needed to be at the computer for that. Makes sense. A likely story. As I mentioned earlier, the Band-Aid is just over a paper cut. I did not get into a fight with a hobby knife. We have the Cool Ranch Dorito war going on in chat right now. Why not both? Because if I get into a fight with this, I'm gonna lose. I have soft fleshy bits, this has a sharp pointy bit, made of metal. There we go. Soon we get to add the last of the best colour to this fella too. Because purple is the best colour. Excuse me. So Jet, have you had an encounter with a hobby knife like this before? Jet, you know Samurai Pixel Cats, that's Ace. Raid, Shadow Legends, Rad, Shady Leggies, Roid, Shapely Legoshi. What kind of non-crafting things do you use these craft knives for anyway? Don't talk about shady leggies when I see a daddy long legs spawn on my work. Oh god. Be swift, Rix, because this might not last much longer. Oh, craft knives are a good replacement for scissors, yeah. And yes, Rex, probably a good idea, because we're in the final minutes, pretty much. We need that bit. We need that bit trimmed when I put my knife. thought I'd trimmed all of these, but I apparently missed bits. That's what I get for being hungry while working on this. How do I... Yes, following the instructions helps sometimes. Final minutes. Jet, don't worry, I am going to eat after this. I will eat many food after this.
This ship is good. Oh, it's so dangerous. Seriously, it packs one hell of a punch when you're shooting off like 8 152mm cannons at everyone.
Nope, wrong one. It's this one. Excuse me. Whoop. His bum just fell off.
But I did disable his torpedo on.
We can reattach his bum in just a moment. Hi, Amarok. Tech Root? I don't know if Tekru is here yet, but if he's going to turn up, he'll want to show up fairly swiftly. Okay, Vivi, that's just mean. Amarok, thank you so much for everyone you've invited here, because I am blown away by the number I've seen. He looks done, but he's not.
Oh, he blew me up.
We have these.
And so before destroyed 128 targets here, that did 56,000 damage. Confederate, down to at least 670 ships, down to 40 ships, you see 20% of their HP. High caliber, down to at least 400 ships, damage on, exceeds 30% of the total HP of all enemy ships. And I set 8 enemies on fire. Came first on our team.
Wow, what, that many people? That's absurd. Thank you all so much for coming along to this, and for anyone you've invited as well. Wow, that's... Bugger me, I'm almost in tears.
Guess how much XP I got from that? 6,500.
That's crazy.
But all of that's on the Charleston, so...
Ooh, Final Fantasy 12. Is it good? All the hugs. Many hugs for everyone, because wow.
52mm guns. So my guns are actually bigger than a normal cruiser. At least considering the fact this ship was made in 1905.
I've played a bit of 7. That's the only Final Fantasy I've played. And even then, I didn't play a whole lot of it. Oh, we've lost a cap at some point. Stay, cap. Interesting. Is that good interesting or bad interesting, Jet? Automated programmable fighting. I don't think that would be a game for me then. Let's just compare these because look how much cooler this one looks now. I don't have a pouch shift 1. Hi there, person who's testing. Let's move everything. Let's close this bottle. Let's move everything else out of the way and hope all the caps stay in place. Now he's done. Good night, Ace. If you can, stick around just to watch him go stomp. Whoa. Well, that happened. Something is not right. Cool, we get to do more. Oh, hi there, Tekru. We're going to borrow another cap. Everything is mechanically sound. What the flip happened there? Oy. Oh, okay, that's popped loose. Okay, we can definitely do this mode, which is what is supposed to happen here. Let's try him off the table. There we go. Now he's going to work just fine. So So we can pop that back on. We can pop that back on, and he shouldn't explode anymore. Hey now, the part fell off before I said everything was mechanically sound. He is a stompy robot. All of these parts are original, but one did go through a repair process. There will be a fully custom one at some point in the future though, because I've got one that's mostly in bits. Yes. Yes, he is done. It took, what, 3.5 hours? Yes, head down, bum up. Lovely to meet you, Tech Crew, and you get a good sleep then. You get a good sleep too, Ace. And Vivi, if you go to sleep before I get back with food, then you sleep well as well. Because I am hungry enough that I'm going to have to take my leave now to get food. Because food is a good thing. I know you'll be here when I get back from food, Rix, because you stay up at even more crazy hours than me. Oh, he's not quite done. We've got this fella. Now he's done. Ooh, 3 more hours. But seriously, thank all of you for coming and for inviting people and just, oh my word. I do stay up late, that's what I mean. Rix keeps weirder hours than me. Yes, thank you all for coming so much. Excuse me. If you want to find me later, you can find me here at twitch.tv/SabreMc. I'm on YouTube as well, and if you're watching this VOD there, please do the thing where you subscribe and all that other stuff with the video. Do that on BitChute and wherever else you're watching. Find me on Twitter at SabreMc. Basically, I'm SabreMc everywhere. Oh my god, it does look like the emoticon of D. That's great. That's so great. I didn't even notice that. I love it. And on that note, hurrah. And then I end the stream. Seriously, you're all amazing.